Hi, hello everyone, it's me CA Sanjay. So welcome back to the next particular topic of audit of items of FS. So audit of items of FS, sales, purchase, other income. So what would be the next topic? Other expense. So other expense, we will discuss many topics. First one is power and fuel, rent, repair to building, repair and maintenance, insurance, traveling, legal, professional, and miscellaneous expenditure. Okay, other expenses. So how as an auditor I'm going to verify these other expenses? So the other expenses basically two topics are mentioned. Other expenses. Okay, the other expenses are basically രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. ഒന്നാമത്തെ കാര്യം general ആയിട്ടുള്ള topics. ഒന്ന് specific ആയിട്ടുള്ള topics. Okay, so general ആയിട്ട് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത് as an auditor? General ആയിട്ട് ഞാൻ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യണം? Whether the expenditure is pertain to current period. Whatever other expenses has been recorded in the books of account, are they pertaining to the current period? Are these expenses belonging to the current period? അടുത്ത വർഷത്തെ എക്സ്പെൻസ് ഈ ബുക്സ് ഈ പീരിയഡിൽ റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? കഴിഞ്ഞ വർഷത്തെ എക്സ്പെൻസ് ഈ പീരിയഡിൽ റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഫസ്റ്റ് തിങ് ഐ ഹാവ് ടു മേക്ക് ഷുവർ ദാറ്റ് all the other expenses belong to the current period. Second one, whether the expenditure qualified as revenue and not capital expenditure. I have to make sure that whatever other expenditure has been incurred in the books of account, they belong to the revenue nature and they are not capital in nature. All the other expense should be supported by valid documents. There should be proper vouchers, invoices for supporting each and every other expenses. Each expenditure has been classified under the correct head. Each expenditure is classified under the proper head. Okay, this proper period cut off. Proper head classification. Classified under the proper head. When expenditure was authorized as per the delegation of the authority matters, whether each expenditure has been sanctioned by the proper authority. Proper authorization kittitundo. Proper authorization kittitundo. Whether expenditure in relation to entities business and not personal. It's a very, very important point. All the expenditure incurred is of business nature and they are not personal expenditure. 143 subsection 1 in the duties to inquire another point in the A, B, C, D, E, F, other E point whether personal expenditure has been charged to revenue expenditure, charged as revenue expenditure, same thing. As an auditor, I have to see whether any expenditure incurred as personal expenditure has been shown in the P&L account. I have to verify that. So these are the general points you have to see for cutoff, for classification. Then what? Again, classification here, revenue expenditure or capital expenditure, supporting documents, proper authorization, and there is no personal expenditure. So what are the general points? What are the general points? First one, they have been shown in the proper period. Have been shown in the proper period. Second one, proper head. Proper head, same accounts in under. Third one, revenue versus capital expenditure. Revenue versus capital expenditure. Then you have to see whether you have received proper authorization. Whether you have received proper authorization. Then you have to see whether any personal expenditure has been charged to personal expenditure has been charged to revenue expenditure. That's it. Done. Okay, fine. Now let's read each heading one by one. First, now we are going for specific audit procedures for rent. First one, we are going to check about rent. See, I'm going to audit a company. In their financial statement, in their P&L account, I can see a rental expense 12 lakh rupees. Rental expense is equal to 12 lakh rupees. So what are the things I have to verify? First one, obtain month-wise expense schedule along with rent agreement. I want to understand what is the monthly rent. From where can I understand? I will obtain the rent agreement. In that, it will be properly, clearly mentioned what is the monthly rent. I will verify if the expense has been recorded for all the 12 months. See, what normally happens is 1 month's rent will be paid in another month, right? Say, for example, January's rent will be paid by February 5. That is the normal thing which happened all around normal practice, right? ഒരു മാസത്തെ rent അടുത്ത മാസം ഒരു 5ാം തീയതിക്കോ 10ാം തീയതിക്കുള്ള എടുക്കും. So what about March rent? March rent will be paid on April 5. Okay, So we have to make sure, just because the rent has been paid on April 5, it cannot be recognized on April. It should be recognized on March itself, because April means new financial year mari. March no financial year mari, April no financial year mari. Yes. So you have to ensure that all the 12 months expense has been properly recorded. Specific consideration should be given for escalation clause. Sir, what do you mean by escalation clause? See, there will be an escalation clause, like every year the rent will be increased by 5% or 10%. That is called escalation clause. So as an auditor, I have to see whether the escalation clause in the agreement, if rent was required to be recorded on straight line basis during the period. So whether this escalation clause has been properly mentioned in the agreement. If it is mentioned in the agreement, whether the rent is properly hiked or not. Verify the agreement is in the name of the entity. We have to make sure that the rental agreement is in the name of the entity, and whether the expenses pertains to the premises used for running the business operations of the expenses pertain to the premises used for running business operations of the entity. So as an auditor, I have to see whether the agreement is in the name of the entity and the premises used for running the business operations are mentioned in the agreement. What are the premises? See, for example, this building is the building for which I am paying the rent. But along with this building, I am also using this parking space. ഈ ബിൽഡിങ്ങിന് ചുറ്റും ഒരു പാർക്കിംഗ് സ്പേസ് ഉണ്ട്. ഈ പാർക്കിംഗ് സ്പേസ് ഞാൻ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഈ ബിൽഡിങ്ങിന്റെ ഇപ്പുറത്ത് റോഡ് ഉണ്ട്. ഈ റോഡ് ഞാൻ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ബിൽഡിങ്ങിനാണ് ഞാൻ വാടക കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. സോ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ നമ്മുടെ എഗ്രിമെന്റിൽ നമുക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞത്. The premises used for running the business operations of the entity, whether the expenses pertains to premises. ഈ റെന്റൽ എഗ്രിമെന്റ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഈ ബിൽഡിങ്ങിന് മാത്രമാണോ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ അതിനകത്ത് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ആവുന്നുണ്ടോ ഞാൻ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യണം. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദിസ് ഇസ് ഓൾ അബൌട്ട് റെന്റ്. Very simple topic. First one, you have to obtain monthly rent from the rent agreement. Then you have to verify whether 12 months rent has been properly recorded. Third one, see whether there is an escalation clause. Then see whether the rental agreement is in the name of the entity, and the expenses you are paying is also including the premises used for running the business operations. That's it, done. Okay, fine. Next comes power and fuel expenditure. Power and fuel expenditure, very simple topic. Power and fuel expenditure, let's read one by one. First one, obtain month-wise expense along with power bills. See, if the company is running for 12 months, obviously there will be electricity expenditure, power and fuel expenditure, right? Yes. So obtain a month-wise expenditure. Verify the expense has been recorded for all the 12 months. See whether this is a recurring expense, power expense, electricity bill, right? So you have to see whether all the 12 months expenditure has been recorded in the books of account. Also compile a month-wise summary of power units consumed and applicable rate, and check the arithmetical accuracy. You see, if you know what is the rate per unit, if you know what is the rate per unit, and if you know how much power has been consumed, say for example this month 10,000 units has been consumed, and if you know the rate per unit, you can calculate the power and fuel expense. You can calculate the power and fuel expense, right? Say for example, rate per unit is 10,000 units, so 80,000 rupees is your monthly power and fuel expense, right? So then you compute it with the power and fuel expense in the books of account. Okay, so compile month-wise power units consumed and applicable rate. Oro masam monthly, how much, what is the power consumed for April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March. What is the power consumed? 10,000 unit, 7,000 unit, 12,000 unit, 13,000 unit, 8,000 unit, 9,500 unit, again 10,300 unit. So this way we will get the month-wise power units. Then we will compute the rate per unit. 10 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 8 rupees, 50 paise, 8 rupees, 50 paise, 8 rupees, 50 paise. Then you will compute the fuel, monthly fuel expenditure. Okay, then you have to see the total power and fuel expenditure with the power and fuel expenditure given in the books. Once auditor compute himself the power and fuel expenditure, how? By computing the units consumed into rate per unit. Okay, then in relation to unit consumed, analyze the monthly power units consumed by like linking it to the units of finished goods. See, can I say like this, like when the fuel expense are more, when power and fuel expense are more, can we say I have generated more units, more finished goods, or more sales has been occurred? See, and the sales കൂടുമ്പോൾ അതിനനുസരിച്ച് power and fuels കൂടില്ലേ? എടാ, say for example I'm a manufacturing company. Okay, and power and fuel expense എപ്പോഴാ കൂടുക? ഞാൻ കൂടുതൽ യൂണിറ്റ്സ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത്. ശരിയല്ലടാ? ശരിയല്ലേ? ശരി, ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും കൂടുതൽ യൂണിറ്റ്സ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ എനിക്ക് കൂടുതൽ സെയിൽസ് നടക്കുമെന്ന് ഉറപ്പുള്ള വർഷങ്ങൾ, ശരിയല്ലടാ? സോ ക്യാൻ ഐ സേ പവർ ആൻഡ് ഫ്യൂവൽസ് കൂടുതൽ ഉള്ള സമയത്ത് അവിടുത്തെ യൂണിറ്റ്സ് എത്ര പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്തു, എത്ര സെയിൽസ് നടന്നു, ഇത് വെച്ച് എനിക്ക് കമ്പയർ ചെയ്തൂടെ? യെസ് സർ. കാരണം ഒരു മാസത്തിൽ പവർ ആൻഡ് ഫ്യൂവൽ എക്സ്പെൻസ് കൂടിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ മാസം അതിനനുസരിച്ചുള്ള യൂണിറ്റ്സ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസും കൂടണം, അതിനനുസരിച്ചുള്ള സെയിൽസും കൂടണം, ശരിയല്ല? യെസ്. സോ ആസ് an auditor I have to analyze the monthly power units consumed by linking it to the units of finished goods produced. So more power and fuel expense, more finished goods should be produced. Yes. And investigate the reasons if there is any variance. So this is all about power and fuel. Power and fuel is very simple. Obtain monthly power and fuel expenditure. See whether all the 12 months power and fuel expenditure is recorded. Compute the power and fuel expense. How? By multiplying the power units consumed with the rate per unit. Then analyze if a particular month, if the power and fuel expense is more, accordingly the finished goods produced should also be more, right? So analyze it. If there is any variance, ask for reasons. Investigate the reasons. Okay. Yes. Then the third other expense comes to be insurance expense. Insurance. Obtain summary of insurance policies taken along with their validity period. Go to the management straight away, ask what are the outstanding insurance, how many insurance do you have, how many insurance does the company have, etra insurance policies undu, what is the monthly premium, if you are paying the premium annually, what is the annual premium? Okay. Obtain the list. What insurance in the validity period etrayana, what is the validity period of insurance? So if, for example, if I have taken a health insurance, that will be a validity period, right? So what is the validity period? Okay, order. Okay, order. Yes, sir. Verify whether the expense have been correctly classified between the prepaid expenses for the period based on number of days. See what here mention is, say for example, company has taken the insurance on 1st August 24. This insurance is valid for one period, valid for 1 year. So this insurance will get lapse on 31/7/25. 31/7/25, 1 year time period. Okay, Anoda. So for this 1 year, I have made a payment of, say for example, 1,20,000 rupees as the insurance premium. I have booked an expense of 1,20,000. But what you have to understand is August, September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March. Okay. പിന്നെ അടുത്ത April, May, June, July. ഇവിടം വരെയല്ലേ 1 year. Second, third month, fourth month, fifth month, sixth month, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. For 1 year, we have made the payment of 1,20,000. പക്ഷേ നിങ്ങൾ എന്താ ഇവിടെ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ടതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, ഇവിടെ ഏപ്രിലിന് ശേഷം അടച്ച എക്സ്പെൻസ് അത് അടുത്ത വർഷത്തെ എക്സ്പെൻസ് അല്ലേ? സോ അടുത്ത വർഷത്തെ എക്സ്പെൻസ് ഇപ്പോഴേ ഞാൻ അടച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതെന്തായിട്ട് ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം? നമുക്ക് പ്രീപെയ്ഡ് എക്സ്പെൻസ് ആയിട്ട് ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം, ശരിയല്ലടാ? അത് നമുക്ക് പ്രീപെയ്ഡ് എക്സ്പെൻസ് ആയിട്ട് ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. സി വെൻ യു ആർ മേക്കിംഗ് ദ പേയ്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് 1 year ഇൻഷുറൻസ്, ഐ ഹാവ് മെയ്ഡ് ദ പേയ്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് 1 year ഇൻഷുറൻസ് ഓൺ August 1st. So this insurance gets lapsed only on 31st May. Yes. So this particular financial year's payment is already made on here on this particular date. So what we have to do is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 months expense should be treated as prepaid expense. Prepaid expense. Okay, now are you guys able to understand what I'm trying to say? Okay, now so August ഞാൻ അടച്ച പ്രീമിയം അത് ഒരു വർഷത്തെ പ്രീമിയമാണ്, ഒരു വർഷത്തേക്കാണ്. ഓഗസ്റ്റ് തുടങ്ങിയാൽ അടുത്ത വർഷം ജൂലൈ 31 വരെ, അടുത്ത വർഷം ഓഗസ്റ്റ് വരെ കിട്ടും, ശരിയടാ? യെസ്. അപ്പം അടുത്ത വർഷം എനിക്ക് മാർച്ച് വരെയുള്ള എക്സ്പെൻസ് മാത്രമല്ല എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ PL അക്കൗണ്ട് കാണിക്കാൻ പറ്റും, മാർച്ച് 31. സോ ഇത് മാത്രം ഞാൻ എക്സ്പെൻസ് ആയിട്ട് ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അതിനുശേഷമുള്ള പേയ്മെന്റ് ഒക്കെ ഞാൻ പ്രീപെയ്ഡ് എക്സ്പെൻസ് ആയിട്ട് കാണിക്കണം. അതാണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്, അതാണ് ഇവിടെ കൃത്യമായിട്ടും പറയുന്നത്. Verify whether the expense has been correctly classified between the prepaid and expenses for the period based on number of days. Okay, fine. Yes. Next, the last topic. Now we have to deal with legal and professional expense and repair and maintenance. That's it. Okay. Next is legal and professional expense. What is said in legal and professional? First one, obtain month-wise and consultant-wise summary. See monthly how much legal expenses are being incurred. For each consultant, how much amount you are paying. Consultant-wise summary also you have to obtain. You want to obtain 2 types of summary. One is monthly summary. Second one is consultant-wise summary. monthly summary. Second one is consultant-wide summary. Next, in case of monthly retainership agreement, verify whether the expenditure for all the 12 months has been recorded correctly. See, there are two types of consultants expenses. Okay, what you have to understand is retainership agreement. Say, for example, there is a company, there is a lawyer. This company has told to the lawyer, you have to provide service to our company. Even if there is a case or there is no cases, you have to provide us services. For this, every month we will pay rupees 10,000 to you. 10,000 rupees per month. Even if there are proceedings, it means legal proceedings, or even if there is no legal proceedings, we will make a payment of 10,000 rupees per month. Retainership agreement. Normally, when will we approach the lawyers? Only when there is some kind of proceedings against us. This is called retainership agreement. Even if there are proceedings or not, we will make a payment of rupees 10,000 every month to the lawyer. Okay, that is called retainership agreement. Okay, so in case of retainership agreement, auditor should see whether all the 12 months expenditure, irrespective of the fact whether there are proceedings against the company or not, auditor has to make sure that the company has paid 12 months expenditure, because it's a retainership agreement. Okay, so whether it has been properly recorded or not. In case of non-recurring expenses, say for example, other than retainership agreement, see, we are not going for retainership agreement, other than retainership agreement. That means when the proceedings are filed against the company, at that particular point of time only we are going to consult the lawyer. Okay, in case of non-recurring expenses, select a sample and vouch whether the attributes discussed above. Okay, so in case of non-recurring expenses, say for example, we don't have any retainership agreement, we don't have any in-house lawyers, some customer has filed a case against our company, some proceedings against our company, so we approached a lawyer and we discussed with him certain things for which he charged an amount of rupees 10,000 to us. Are we going to pay 10,000 every month? No, sir, because this is not a retainership agreement. So we will make the payment only when some kind of proceedings are there against the company. So in such case of non-recurring expenses, where we are not we are not making the payment of legal expenses every month. Okay, we have to, on a sample basis, auditor should vouch. And finally, auditor should be very cautious while vouching the legal expense. Why? There is a high possibility. See, there are certain proceedings against the company which could affect the going concern of the company. There are certain companies which has liquidated, which has finally wind up their business because of certain proceedings against the company. So as an auditor, he should be very cautious when he is vouching the legal expenses. Okay, auditor should see whether proper provisions has been made against each and every proceedings. Okay, provision against legal. See, this is somewhere we have mentioned about this in SA 501. Do you remember? SA 501 litigation and claims. See, so we as an auditor, we have to make sure that proper provisions are made. Dispute for which entity may not have made any provisions and the matter may also not have been discussed, highlight the auditor for a specific consideration. If there is a dispute pending in the court against the company and there's a high possibility that entity might lose the case, auditor should make sure that the company has made proper provision against the company, against such proceedings. Okay, so these are the 4 points. First one, obtain month-wise and consultant-wise summary. If it's a retainership agreement, auditor has to make sure that the 12 months expense has been properly booked. If it's a non-recurring expense, auditor on a sample-based auditor should vouch the expenses. Then auditor should be very cautious when he is verifying the legal expenses. See whether auditor has to see whether proper provisions has been made or not. Okay, these are the 4 points. And the last topic is travel, repair and maintenance, printing and stationery, miscellaneous expenditure. Okay, ഇവിടെ എന്താ പറഞ്ഞു വെച്ചാൽ auditor should select. See, ഇവിടെ ഒരു ബേസിക് ആയിട്ട് കുറെ എക്സ്പെൻസിന് ഒരുമിച്ചാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. ട്രാവൽ എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ, റിപ്പയർ ആൻഡ് മെയിൻ്റെനൻസ് എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ, പ്രിന്റിംഗ് ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റേഷനറി എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ, എക്സെട്ര. ഓക്കെ, ഇവിടെ എന്താ പറഞ്ഞു വെച്ചാൽ auditor should select a sample and vouch for the attributes discussed above. What are the attributes discussed above? Earlier we said, right, whether the expenditures are general points. We have discussed some general points, right? Proper period, proper head, revenue versus proper authorization, personal expenditure. Auditor has to vouch for such attributes discussed above. Perform analytical procedure. What do you mean analytical procedure? Compare current year traveling expenditure with previous year's traveling expenditure. If there is a huge variation, auditor should investigate for reasons. auditor should not only yearly basis, auditor can also compare monthly basis. What is the January month's printing and stationery expense with February month's printing and stationery? If there's a huge variation, auditor should investigate for reason. Auditor should investigate the reasons. Okay, then auditor should analyze the expense per unit produced and compare the same with previous year and present industry trends and ask for the reasons. Basically, again, analytical procedure. Okay, so what is the expenses per unit? Say for example, total other expenditure is, say for example, 10 lakh rupees. How much units have been produced? We have produced 1 lakh units. So what is the per unit expenditure, sir? 10 rupees. This is for current year. We have to see for previous year how much. Previous year it was 7 lakh rupees. We have produced 85,000 units. So we have to check what is the per unit, and we have to see whether the difference, if there is a huge fluctuation, if there's a huge variation, auditor should go for investigation. That's it. Okay, order. And finally, as per schedule 3, you have to do classify them. Fine. Yes. So this is all about the topics. You have to learn from this particular topic. Other expenses. Okay, order. Fine, Ano. Yes. So signing off. CA Sanjay Prabhu. If you are having any doubt, you know what you're supposed to do. Okay. So thank you.